So last time we made a video about this guy, one of the immediate things that was commented in the comment section below was that, Lego, you're kind of making a fool out of yourself, man. Why are you making a video about this guy and the idea of him getting traded? Because on the day of that video's publication, there was an article, a report from the Hockey News saying that he would actually like to stay with his team. And even though that report is there and we definitely do have to acknowledge it, we have some other things as well that have also popped up that give us continued opportunities to talk about this guy still. So let's head over to the Ottawa Senators and go over their expiring RFA-to-be, who does need an extension, Alex DeBrincat. Now, last time we made a video, we went over how he apparently, or not he, but him and his party, gave the Ottawa Senators a list of teams that they would be okay with getting traded to, and we were like, okay, cool, that's essentially a trade request. Like, if you're going to go out there and put your team in a very vulnerable position by saying, hey, we're available, we're on the market, and I don't know if I want to re-sign here, then calling that a trade request wouldn't necessarily be the most inaccurate thing in the world. But, of course, we did see that report from the Hockey News saying that DeBrincat likes the coach and he loves the team and he would like to stay. It's just with the entire Ottawa Senators ownership thing, buyers are dropping out and none of this is all confirmed. With this being so up in the air, it's a little bit difficult to justifiably say, okay, well, I'm going to sign an 8-year deal now. Here you go. I'm not going to dismiss the idea that DeBrincat does want to maybe stay, or he does like the team, or he likes the coach, but if he was very willing and committed to sticking around and getting this underway, then maybe we would have seen an extension by now. That's just my speculation. We had already brought up some other perspectives, though, from Ottawa Senators fans and people that report on the Sens, saying, hey, if DeBrincat is not committed and he does not want to stick around, then that's fine, just trade him away, because there are some other pieces that will be okay with sticking around instead. And Elliotte Friedman on the recent 32 Thoughts podcast had himself a little segment where he mentioned a few other teams that may be on that DeBrincat trade list. Take a look at this post made by NHL Watcher on Twitter. Friedman on the 32 Thoughts pod mentions that aside from Detroit, Vegas, and Florida, there has been some reporting that DeBrincat has Dallas and Nashville on his list as well. Now, this is a very basic tweet, but it essentially goes out there and talks about 3 of the main teams that could be involved in this process should a DeBrincat trade get underway. The Wings, the Golden Knights, and the Panthers. Now, I'd seen a lot of people going out there and memeing this list in particular, saying, hey, DeBrincat just wants to go to the teams that don't have any state tax. It's the state tax, the good teams, his hometown team, and that's it. And I get it, there's some very obvious patterns here. Even if you look at Mateychuk from last year and the situation with the Calgary Flames, there was a list of teams that Tkachuk wanted to get traded to, and it was very similar to what we have here. So, for DeBrincat to mention these teams, or for the speculation to mention these teams, it makes a lot of sense. Vegas, Florida, of course. It is kind of funny to me how these two teams are in the finals right now, dueling it out, and all of a sudden the rumor's like, yeah, DeBrincat wants to go there. Out of the 3 teams that are on his most desired list, 2 of them are playing right now. And when you really think about it, I mean, look, either of these 2 teams, Vegas or Florida, we don't really need to see them get any better. They're already there at the top of the mountain. It's just that Vegas is 1 win away from clinching everything and getting that Stanley Cup. If DeBrincat ends up going to one of these 2 teams, firstly, of course, we know that it would benefit him financially because of the money, but secondly, just the overall skill set there. Both of these teams are already very good. And you could say that for Florida, even though they had a bad season, this is still a team that underperformed. A lot of these guys were much better than the numbers on paper would suggest. This team was literally the President's Trophy winning team last year. Now, 1 year later, they underperform in the regular season, they barely squeak in, and now they're in the finals against Vegas. Both of these teams, Florida and Vegas, they don't need to be getting any better. And Alex DeBrincat, assuming he goes out there and provides, let's say the worst case scenario, 50 points on the year, is gonna make them better. Even this season, he had a down year, but still had 60 points and 27 goals. Like, you put him in a better situation, you surround him with guys that are able to feed him the puck, and you put him on a team that actually knows how to win, he maybe goes out there and gets 30 goals again. He gets 40 goals again. He gets 70 points again. And if it's with Vegas, Florida, and or Detroit, then that would be pretty good for the player himself. Now, when it comes to the Red Wings, I get it. There isn't really the state tax benefit that is so huge in Detroit like it is in Tampa Bay or in Florida or in Vegas, but the Michigan roots, obviously there's a front-runner conversation happening here because all NHL players would love to play for their hometown team at some point or another. For the Red Wings, though, what they could provide DeBrincat that the Panthers and the Golden Knights can't really give him is that number one spot. If DeBrincat goes over to the Wings, all of a sudden he is, dare I say, their most valuable acquisition and one of the most valuable players on the team. Sure, you got Raymond, you got Sider, you got Larkin, you got some other guys that are going to be important, but you compare this to Vegas and Florida. If Vegas gets DeBrincat, he's like third or fourth on that totem pole behind Eichel, behind Stone, behind Marchessault if you really wanted to argue it. If you put him on Florida, he's behind Barkov, he's behind Tkachuk, he's behind Montour. There are players on these teams that will be above DeBrincat, and I'm not going to go out there and say that's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing or whatever. It's just in Detroit, you have more of a stage. You have more of a platform for DeBrincat to go out there and take over games and take over the team. Okay, that sounds really bad when you say it like that, but for the Red Wings, there's a better opportunity here for a guy that's from Michigan that maybe wants to play for his hometown squad and who could probably get 40 to 45 goals if he gets the number one power play spot. He's getting fed by Lucas Raymond, and he is relied upon in all situations to make this team good. He could be the Bertuzzi replacement or the Vrana replacement, what these guys were on the team and or what they were supposed to be. DeBrincat could be that. And so it makes sense why either of these teams would all be there. I mean, you could have a conversation about Dallas. You could talk about Nashville too. We didn't talk about most of these teams actually in the last video where we talked about DeBrincat. Who did we discuss in that video a few days ago? It was the Predators, the Hurricanes, we had the Blues in there, the Capitals, and so we're getting a lot of varying reports as to who could actually be on that DeBrincat trade list, but with Vegas, Florida, and Detroit potentially being the frontrunners, it makes things very interesting for Ottawa, who is in a position where they need to get this ownership stuff sorted out in order to maybe facilitate some sort of an extension, but if not, you're gonna have to trade this guy away. Let me know in the comment section below if you're an Ottawa Senators fan, what is it that you want from the Wings, from the Golden Knights, from the Panthers, if it's a trade for Alex DeBrincat? Some of these teams have picks, some of these teams have prospects, some of these teams don't have any of those things. So if any of these teams are the ones to make the deal done, what are your opinions on the return? From the Red Wings, is there a prospect in particular that you want? Do you want Stevie Y to pry away some young guys? It's going to be tough to do that because Stevie Y is a masterclass negotiator. If it's for the Vegas Golden Knights, what are your thoughts on their situation? They don't have too many prospects or picks to speak of because they've traded them all away for this playoff run. For Florida, you could debate some sort of a similar situation there, but either way, if you're a Sens fan, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. DeBrincat, yay or nay? Vegas, Ottawa, Florida. Oh my goodness, I said Ottawa in there. Detroit, excuse me. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.